It just seems very flimsy. I mean, from a marketing point,
negative about rugby league.
But you don't only going to try.
You don't even want to grow the game to Townsville or Cairns.
No, listen.
No wonder why you don't want to go to
try and do.
But you know what? You'd be the first bloke getting on a junket to go to America and saying, "How good is this?"
Oh, bloody oath I will.
Well, there we go.
You're
growing the game.
What you're going to do is find out what clubs are going, and then join your 2,000th club and try and get it. G'day everybody, welcome to Footy Talk with Wighton, Woodsy and Maroon. Look, just before I go to the guys, obviously it is ANZAC Day. It's a special day on the Australian calendar. ANZAC Day will never be forgotten in the NRL, and I want to congratulate the NRL the way they have commemorated it is probably the word this year, as they do every year. So a lot of great positive things happen around the NRL. Sometimes people don't point them out, but I think ANZAC Day especially, this ANZAC round has been wonderful. Wado, welcome to you.
Thank you, Maroon. That was an outstanding piece. Hearing the old soldiers talking about the memories and even the diary entries, it's always very moving. It's one of the best days on the Australian calendar when we get to take a moment to reflect on everything that happened before us and how lucky we are, and we're very grateful for those the service that they gave for us to live our way of life these days.
Footy Talk podcast, Wado, and of course you, Woodsy. How you going, old mate?
Yeah, going good, mate. It's been a great round of footy, and I love just hearing the last post. It's just, it gives you goosebumps. And, when you see like the old ANZAC, the heroes, it's just, each club's done their part, and it's a really good thing the NRL are doing, and they need to just keep doing it because it's us giving back to what they've done for us in the past.
Bloody
so
oath.
Good.
You put it beautifully, mate. And look, let's talk a little bit of Footy Talk, what's going on in the NRL via the Listener app. And look, another great weekend because both of you blokes had a win. But I'll start with you today, Woodsy, because you've like, this is the thing. This is where I feel like I'm talking to one of my kids. You bloody knew they were having a crackdown on hip drops. We went through all this business on Thursday night or Friday night, whenever it was. Then you go out. Like
I've been their harshest critic,
and you get done for one.
I can't believe it, and it's cost me.
You mocked yourself.
I mocked myself. I can mock, can't I? I got a $1,000 fine for a hip drop of my old mate Alex Twal. But because I've been a clean skin for the last, I think, is it 2 or 3 years, you get that little bit of benefit, and I got a $750 fine.
Beautiful.
Yeah, look, it was totally accidental. I didn't even know I did it at the time. I think it was 2 sets later when they scored a try against us. I got called out from the ref and said, "Mate, you've been charged with a hip drop. Put you on a report." So I thought, immediately I've got 10 in the bin, and nothing. You just back to play. It doesn't warrant 10 in the bin. So look, I don't even know what a hip drop is this day and age, and I thought all of them deserved 10 in the bin. So I thought I was lucky to stay on the field. I'm still lost.
Yeah. Well, you know that the outcome is $750 fine and you can play next week.
That's it, yeah. So I'm pretty lucky. You look at the blokes like Payne Haas, he's got 1 week. Ezra Mam's got 1 week. You look at the fine that Hopgood got, he's got 1,800. And, mate, you go back to the one Dale Finucane that I'm still scratching my head about. He got, I think, 3 or 4 weeks from. So
3 weeks,
yeah, 3 weeks, because you had the bye. That's right. So, yeah, I've been very lucky with what I've been handed down with, but still, you scratch your head because I don't know all the interpretations of it. I look at it. I didn't lose my legs when I made the tackle, but one of the angles just doesn't look right. So it was just hard. You couldn't fight it.
Wado, this another question only a non-player can ask an NRL player. That happens in a game to you. You know there's more to come. There's repercussions for this because if you're on report, how do you complete that game? Is it in the back of your mind? Is it playing on what you're doing?
Not really. Like, there's that moment you're on report. It's like you're just stuck in that moment. It's obviously a penalty, or you're on report and you just go, well, damn, I made a mistake. Like 9 times out of 10, there is a penalty, so you put your team under pressure. That's your first thought about getting back the momentum and trying to do what's needed for your team right then and there. It's not until after the game, I'd say, not even directly after the game, you're probably still not thinking about it because all your thoughts and your feelings and emotions are just charged towards the game you just played. It's really, that night or the next morning, you start to look at it and go, oh, am I in some trouble here? Fortunately for me, throughout my career, I haven't had too many instances. I've only been suspended once previously besides this year, so it's not a big thing I've had to deal with. But for sure, in my case, it's something I haven't thought about until the next morning, really, when I start to, like, the emotions out of the body, the worry about the game you just played is gone, and your focus is switched to next week and preparing for the next game. So I think that mindset, you sort of, oh, well, the charges have come out. What am I expecting?
I also reckon it's the severity, Maroon. You know, like I didn't even get penalised for it the day of when it was happening in the game. I just got, you know, when they scored a try, they were getting ready to kick a conversion. He pulled me out. You know, it's different. Like, Wader put that huge shot on, but then, you know, he got 10 the bin, so he's got to cool down and he's thinking about it, and then comes back on the field, and he's got to be careful of his tackle tech the next couple ones. So, you know, because he's been penalised, he's been 10 the bin. And then, you know, when you get to the end of the game, that's
but you're only thinking about that game.
That's it.
Like, you're only thinking about that game. Well, I am, and I can't speak for everyone.
And I was like, Wader, like at the end of the game, I'm going, oh no, I've been done for the hip drop, and you know what the crackdown is that at the moment. So anything that touches the legs, I'm thinking, I'm going to miss a week or two here, and that's when, as you start to calm down, you take all the process in. You're like, far out, I've done something here, but not while you're playing. You don't think about it too much. You probably think, like Wader said, that split second, whether you give the penalty away, they bring you out, you have the little chat with the ref, but. Yeah, after that, it's just game on, isn't it?
What about, boys, are we any further, how do I even put this? The hip drop thing, we had the big, if you want to call it a crackdown. Of course, in the Broncos game, we lost a couple of players, which is going to have its effect on the Rabbitohs game.
The one thing that I get frustrated about, Maroon, I'm not sure about Wader, I can't speak for Wader, but so you see the Hopgood hip drop. I don't think there was nothing wrong with it. It was hip on hip. So, but then he gets 10 to bin, right? Then the first one, Ezra Mam does. 10 to bin straight away, only because Hopgood's already got it. And then you see what Payne Haas does. Like, you're just watching the game as a fan, as a current player, and then, like, it's a blatant hip drop. Like, well, it's I don't know what an actual hip drop is, but from what they're saying at the moment, he lands on Campbell Gillard. We stopped the game for 2 or 3 minutes because Campbell Gillard can't walk. He's got to limp off behind the in-goal. And then they've had 1,000 replays they could look at. It should be 10 to bin. The refs aren't even getting this right, or the bunker's not even getting it right. Why isn't 10 to bin there? That's what I don't understand, and that's what I think is frustrating, not just the players, but it's frustrating the fans as well. And it's just like, they say, he lost his legs. Well, yeah, Payne Haas lost his legs. Campbell Gillard got an injury from it. But I think they're more worried about having 30.
Sometimes you lose your leg from making contact. Like the guys,
it's the momentum.
People run hard at you, and sometimes when you
know what,
you're off balance or you get hit, lose your legs.
I've only seen one bad hip drop. And it was Carrigan's one last year when he was bringing Hastings down. Hastings had stopped, and he dragged him down from behind, and that's a hip drop, and he knew it. Carrigan knew that at the time.
The way they're interpreting some hip drops for penalties and for sin bins, like I can sit down and watch the game at home and see 15 that they miss.
Exactly,
like you see.
But now we're pinpointing all of them because of what they're doing.
100%, or it's only up to one person in the bunker who identifies it, and then sends a message down to...
Did you think the Payne Haas one should have 10 to bin as well?
With how they've been refereeing, for sure. Like, there's an injury to a player.
When you're watching it now.
All right, so you guys are no clearer on...
No, I don't think so. I don't think they're... Until they're clear and start making some consistent decisions, that clears it up for us. At the moment, we're scratching our head, like, because Woodsy just said, there's 2 instances in a game where they get put in the bin for 10, no injuries, and then a player does get injured for a similar thing, and he stays on the field. So we're going to be confused, and fans are going to be confused until they're not confused.
My biggest one, Wader, is when Origin comes around, because you know what Origin's like. The preservation of your body goes out of the way, and so blokes are going to lose their legs in that sort of an instance.
It'll be a different set of rules, won't it?
That's what I'm saying right now. And then like what?
Well, remember the head high crackdown a few years ago? That magic round. There was about 50 blokes put in the bin, and then Origin rolls around a couple of weeks later, and
blokes got chinned and nothing.
Play on, go on. There you go.
All right, guys. Well, look, don't think of your own self-interest when I raise this topic, and let's have a grown-ups discussion about this business that the NRL wants to start next season with a double header in Vegas. Now, when we discussed this off air, you blokes were all discussing what teams are going. Forget about what teams are going, but I assume it's going to be the Rabbitohs and probably Brisbane and probably
Manly.
Melbourne. Well, I don't know about Manly. Are you
Didn't
hearing
the Rabbitohs get a bit of strife the last time they went to Vegas?
Was it Vegas or was somewhere in the States?
Yeah,
no, that was
wasn't
when they did the
Vegas.
altitude camps.
Oh, was it not Vegas?
Yeah, somewhere in the States.
The Roosters went to Vegas.
Roosters,
The Roosters went to
twice.
Vegas.
Let me ask you this. What is the point of the NRL going to Vegas? Let me finish this before you... Is it to showcase the game to people in that part of America, or is it to gather attention nationally in Australia to say, hey, the NRL are doing something different, they're going to Vegas? Because I can't understand how it helps us in the American market to open our season in Vegas, if that makes sense.
It's probably a bit of both. Probably, Volandis is negotiating it, so he's obviously got a few ducks lined up if he thinks it's achievable. One, to probably get paid to go over there for starters. Then you get the exposure. You know, I've only heard the preliminary stuff about lining up with a Tszyu fight and a UFC fight maybe. Like, I think there was a weekend at Vegas where there's multi-sports on, where we get to showcase our sport as well. I think the exposure, certainly nationally, that we'll have if we can line it up with a couple of other sporting events, Australian sporting people. I think it's a great idea if they can pull it off.
So it's like a magic round in Vegas, but all different sports.
I reckon it's unreal because I think, like what I said with the boxing, they're trying to get a Tszyu fight card on. The UFC, if they can get Dana White and all that, if they want to get a Volkanovski fight night done as well, and just promote Australia. What our I don't know, is it our national sport here, rugby league?
Oh, I think
one of them.
One of them. So
in the East Coast.
Yeah, well, if we can grow it, like.
But how does this help us grow it?
We're taking the game internationally.
Okay, so we're going to play 2 games there. Ta-da, everyone. Thanks for having us. We're coming home
again.
Well,
it's marketing, right? It's marketing, like you said, nationally.
It seems very flimsy. I mean, from a marketing point,
negative about rugby league.
But like, you're only going to try.
You don't even want to grow the game to Townsville or Cairns.
No, listen.
No wonder why you don't want to go to
try and do.
But you know what? You'd be the first bloke getting on a junket to go to America and saying, "How good is this?" When it does
bloody
happen.
oath I will.
Well, there we go.
You're
growing the game.
What you're going to do is find out what clubs are going, and then join your 2,000th club and try and.
Mate, wait on I. We could retire, but if they bring this game on, we could go around for another year just because of this.
Yeah, well, I mean, you might be retired. You might not have any choice. You might be captain coach of Park Spacemen the way you're going.
Oh, no, thank you.
I think the only thing like the worry for me is we've heard this tossed up a number of times. Like, was there one in Hawaii we're talking about?
Yeah, I was at with Tigers and Dragons. I think it's got to logistically work. Like, if I think they were saying so, those 4 teams will play round 1 and then they'll have a bye the week after, so they can get back to Australia and acclimatise.
And the only thing too, hard. Like with the US, like I know it sounds great for us, right?
Yeah.
NRL launch a season. Let's get Tszyu to have a fight over there and Volkanovski to fight as well. Like,
sounds easy.
From an Australian's point of view, that's ultimate weekend, right?
Oh,
but
absolutely.
Like what's in it for the Americans? Says put that.
Well,
all
that's
on.
all I'm saying. I mean, what's in it from a point?
I get it from our point of view. Like,
and the other one is, are we going to fill out a stadium in America? Because they're huge stadiums over there.
Yeah, well, that's right. That's what they're discussing in the.
If it can work logistically, I think it'll be outstanding. Because we're showcasing our major sport in another country to a broader.
But this is where I don't think that they do, because there's 350 million people in America, and now you're talking about they're not even going to fill a stadium. I mean, you're shooting down your own argument.
If they can do it logistically.
Mate, I don't know how you get yourself here logistically.
If they can pull it off, I think it'd be an awesome idea. But there's obviously a lot of water to go.
Well, if you have as many negative people like you in the world, we might be able to grow things.
I mean, one minute you're saying we're going to go over there and give the game exposure.
No, I'm just trying to give a pros and cons, trying to help you out. Because all you do is
I'm just trying to make you see, mate, that not everything is as it seems. Like, I mean. You're talking about.
Let's just get it out.
You've had 15 discussions about hip drops in 48 hours, and then you go out on Sunday and get one yourself, isn't it?
Yes, mate, but I didn't mean to do a hip drop.
All right, so you guys are pro a doubleheader in Vegas.
Yes.
So are you.
I am too.
If Triple M run it.
Well, absolutely. I mean, let's be fair dinkum. If we can get a start over there, why not?
Bit of extra cabbage?
Yeah. Well.
For you.
Well, mate, you've got to get paid extra to go all that way on a plane. Footy talk with Wighton, Woodsy and Maroon. The other big topic over the weekend has been this talk that Jack Wighton might finish his career with the South Sydney Rabbitohs, and talk he wants to do it because he wants to win a premiership, and talk that he wants to do it because and accept less money to do it. Let me start there, fellas. Wighton. I think if he wants to play for less money, that's up to him.
Yeah, for sure. That's just like people play. Nathan Cleary's taking less money than what he could probably earn on the market because one, he wants to help keep the squad together. Munster's taking less money. Like, there is for sure that's up to the player if they want to take less money. Let's be serious. Whatever he ends up with is still going to be a lot of money.
Yeah,
and he can live comfortably with that. He's been paid well. He's probably done well with his money over his career. So to take a little bit less at the back end of your career to chase, the holy grail, for sure, that's understandable. I could see that for sure. Like the other way around is if you have success early and you do win the premierships and then the payday comes in the back end of the career, you could say if that's fair enough as well. Like you've done what you've needed to do, you've achieved what you wanted to achieve, and now there's an opportunity to go test the market and get paid well for it. It's just he's doing it in reverse. So for sure, that's Jack's call. And South Sydney is settled. They've they haven't had much roster movement. They're in, a really, really strong period for the club. They have, amazing players all across the park, and they're a premiership threat for the next 2, 3, 4 years. So it makes sense for me if Jackie had the opportunity to go there, to go there.
We did a show with Chemis the other day, remember? And he was saying that if he goes to Souths, he could be budgeted there. Like, he had to be on a certain wage on a salary cap. Remember that?
Well, this is the part I don't understand.
How does that work? Well, I don't get how that works.
The only time I remember something like this happening...
It was with Sonny, you remember?
Well, no.
But that was mid-year.
No, I remember Israel, when Israel came back from AFL, and I think he was trying to sign somewhere, and they said, we're just going to give him X amount of money, and the NRL actually said no, like...
Remember they wanted
his value.
Didn't they want the war chest? That was when we had that... They wanted the NRL to chip in.
But I don't... is that why... that the Raiders actually put their offer into the NRL saying this is what we're paying him? So that's his market value, is it?
I think so. But
that's what the offer is?
It doesn't matter what his market value is because he's off contract. He can go out and ask whatever he wants to get. And why can't he go to South for less money because he wants to win a competition?
Well, I don't have a problem with that. I don't know why. That's his decision. If he wants to take less money.
I would have thought so, yeah. But what is it saying about... And look, a talk around the Rabbitohs is that it's going to happen.
Well, what it's saying is that he doesn't believe he can win a competition at Canberra. He believes that he can win one at South Sydney. So, and the other thing is, I think Buzz Rothfields wrote that it might create a bit of angst amongst the playing group at Souths. But I know he's very close with Cody Walker and Latrell Mitchell. Those blokes will be pulling him in. We spoke about that. You've had Liam Knight there for a few years. He's on big money.
Yeah.
Tommy Burgess is re-signed, and the money he's on now won't be the same as what he's on next year. The cap's also gone up, so there's a bit of space there for him. And the other thing is he's going there to play centre.
Yeah.
It might push Isaiah Tass out, but no disrespect to Isaiah Tass. He's a young fella coming through the grades, but mate, anyone would be jumping at someone like Jack White. Yeah. He's absolutely class.
International player.
But he's going to be there through the Origin period because he's retired from rep footy. He's not going to go away to the tours at the end of the year. He'll be back starting fresh pre-season. He's not going to be one of those players you always got that question mark, is he going to be here or not?
And I think from the point of view, Wado, from the point of view as a Rabbitohs supporter, we can see that the Rabbitohs, we see clubs, what I won't name now, that somebody comes on the market, they're desperate. They'll grab anyone to try and rebuild their club. The Rabbitohs don't need Jack Wighton. He comes or he doesn't come. If he does come, he'll fit in. It won't interrupt anyone else too much. And from the CEO down, it's now one of the most professional clubs. So it's not a knee-jerk thing, I guess.
No, it looks like just a good situation for everyone, right?
Yeah.
Like
except Canberra.
Woodsy, except Canberra.
Yes, seriously.
Woodsy's, spoke about, he's already close mates with a lot of the boys in the team already. They've all vocally come out publicly and said they'd love to have him. The coach has said they'd love to have him. Jack sees it, as a potential to, reach that goal of his, reach that dream of his. He's willing to take a little bit less money for it. It's a good fit. Like I said, the club knows what they're going to get with Jack. They have an opportunity to get him if he's on the market. It makes sense. If they think they're a premiership threat, which they definitely are, and they think adding Jack to the roster is going to enhance that chance, well, for sure, it's a smart move, right?
And they also get a marquee player for less than what he would get on the open market.
Again, it's a win for everyone in that circumstance, except obviously Canberra, as Woodsy said.
If I got this right, though, he's still got to speak to the Dolphins, which we know that Wayne Bennett can be very persuasive. And do you think, Woodsy, that now means, or does that mean that he's now burnt his bridge? Whatever happens, he won't be at Canberra.
I'm not too sure. I think is the offer still on the table at Canberra?
If we got to the bottom, that's a thing. Like a club can offer you X amount of money, and that's your value to the NRL. The NRL come in and.
Well, Mick Chemis was saying something on the show that we did the other day with him that they did it with Sonny Bill, but Sonny Bill come mid-year, and what they were trying to say is this is the value he's worth. Yeah, because he's missed half the season.
Okay.
And then so because he come in halfway through the year, they wanted to sign him for $100,000. But they're going, no, he's valued at 500, so this is what you need to have the cap allowance.
Well, who valued in NRL?
The NRL did it. But I've never heard of that before.
Well, I remember an incident. I don't even remember the Sonny stuff, to be honest. I do remember the stuff with Israel, but I wasn't sure how that was working.
I think they were trying to get the NRL to chip in for him because he was getting so much money from AFL.
Okay.
And then that's the only way we could match it. But it's
a
a weird one. If you're off contract, well, mate, you get $100,000 or you get $1 million. It's up to the player what he wants to sign for.
But is this the reason why Canberra came out and said this is what they
what
lodged?
We're going to pay him.
This is what we offered him. This is what we lodged. Is that why they did it? Was to sort of protect themselves against being low?
I don't know the answer to that. But the other thing is,
I thought they just did it because they wanted to keep him.
But
that's what I thought it was.
You guys would know more about this than me, but let's say, for the sake of the argument, they sign Wighton on a whatever figure. Like, I don't think any clubs more than these inner city clubs, these big, strong inner city clubs, South Roosters or Broncos, these clubs have wonderful marketing or third-party arrangements with big companies around where they are, be those car dealers, real estate agents or whatever. So maybe some money can jump in from there.
Probably has.
Can't be negotiated as a part of the deal. They need to.
Yeah.
But
what are you saying?
Outside. Yeah.
What are you saying,
those
mate?
good clubs know how to work the salary cap very well.
Like, for me, I certainly looking from an outside looking in, I think it's a good fit. It makes sense.
So too.
If I'm Jack Wighton, I'm happy to take a little bit less money. Like,
if he's
still a lot of money he's getting. Let's be honest. Like,
if he's drives to win a comp, it's the best fit, I reckon. If he wants money, well, then you stay at Canberra or go to Redcliffe.
I mean, if it was all about money, I mean, it's whatever walk of life you're in. Everybody's got to cross that path where you can go elsewhere for more money and you say, no, I'm happy here, or I would go there for less money because it's closer to where I live. So it's not all about money.
He wants to win a comp, And like Wade said, like he's probably made some really good money throughout footy. He's done well with what he's got. And now he wants to win a comp back end before he retires.
And there's a lesson in this for you, Woodsy.
Yes, mate.
It's not all about money. I mean, you go through an invoice book a week.
But you're my leader. You're the one that tells me what to do. So I'm just going off what you tell me.
Yes, but mate, you've taken it like where I'm getting like 1 gig, you're getting about 27 at the moment.
But you're getting me all those 27 gigs.
Can I get a clip out of them all?
You
and
do.
Then I'll retire.